Today I started with $0, having previously bought an abandoned placer with gold. Now I face a complex task in developing this mine. If the calculations are correct, there is more than $10 million resting here. The difficulty lies in the fact that I invested everything I had. Now, as a result, I am left on the street. The only transport available is the Brodushkin pickup. It is so old that its first number was carved into stone. Right now, I am going to inspect the placer. I am bringing 5 canisters of diesel fuel and a box of tools with me. As far as I know, there is some abandoned industrial device there. Perhaps we will be able to launch it. But what will come of it? We will see now. If you want even more content like this, then hit like and subscribe to the channel. April has arrived, and with it, as expected, the gold mining season. I am currently heading to the coordinates of the mine, and it seems that it is very close. Now, as far as I know, it was left in the 1970s due to the depletion of all the gold. However, I have heard rumors that there is still something there. The placer is located on the right, and it seems that it has been well fenced off to prevent anyone from sneaking in, and they blocked the entrance. Just look at how overgrown it is. Honestly, I don't like this anymore. Let's at least open the exit and try to drive in here. There are so many damn bushes. I dread to think how much trouble it will be to cut them down. There is some kind of cabin. That's already good. It means I will have a place to live. Let's take a look inside and see what there is. I'm bothered by the fact that the door is wide open here. There might be some homeless people living around. Ugh, it stinks here. I need to clean up. Right under the cabin, I found this. Who knows? It might be the industrial device of the previous owner of the placer. The most mysterious part is what happened to it. They say the previous owner disappeared without a trace. There are rumors that wild bears roam these areas, but to be honest, I find it hard to believe. After all, I've never seen them. Anyway, to hell with that, by the way, to everyone. The main thing is that there is some industrial device here. Let's take a look. As I walk a little further, I discover that there is even an old industrial device and sluice associated with it. This device washes rich deposits of sand with water. Due to the water, the vibrations cause the gold to settle on this sluice, and we obtain a concentrate. And in this same building, apparently, there is washing going on, and we get gold nuggets. Going further, I find yet another beaten up industrial device. What the hell is going on here? There's something standing in the bushes too. I take it it's another vehicle. And what the hell is this? What a twist. Huge bears, damn it, are on the property. How did they get here? How were they able to sneak in? No one warned me that bears would be roaming freely here. I sat in the cabin for about an hour, after which the bear left safely and I continued my inspection of the placer. Right beneath me is a flooded cut containing many thousands of tons of sand. So I see a lot of abandoned equipment here. I pray that at least some of this junk works. There is an excavator like this one. I don't know how many years it has been standing here, but judging by its appearance, no less than 20. Yes, life has clearly taken its toll on it. By the way, they removed the engine. I definitely won't be able to start it. So, here I see a relatively intact Amcador, but it is submerged in water by a meter, and it's unclear how long it has been here. The depth is considerable, so I will have to swim to get there. I certainly didn't expect to take a dip in the swamp today. I can immediately see that its condition is 4 out of 10. The question is whether we can get it running. Nearby, I discovered another loader, but it is less fortunate as it is very rusty. On top of that, it has been thoroughly disassembled. The hydraulics are all leaky, and the tank is too. It's not meant to start. Unlike the Brodushkin pickup, which I did attempt to start, I fold myself into the cabin and try, and here I face failure. What happened? The thing is, the fuel gauge is on empty, therefore it needs to be refueled, of course. After all, I don't even know how many years it has been sitting here. Most likely the fuel has been drained, but that's not a problem, as I have a couple of canisters. And now with the Brodushkin pickup that has been refueled, the question is whether it will start. Attempt number 2. After all, if it turns out to be faulty, that would be very bad. And here, although it's small, it's still the first success at this damn placer. After all, I managed to start the dead industrial device. Great. Now I just had to pull it out of the water and continue exploring the placer. After all, before the bear attacked me, I seem to have seen some kind of bulldozer. So let's inspect it right now and assess its condition. Well, the underbrush here is thick. You can't see anything. From the very first income, we need to buy a Brodushkin pickup and get rid of all this mess. And here is the bulldozer. He clearly looks worse for wear. At the very first inspection, I realized that the chances of getting this tractor running are quite good. So I don't waste any time and immediately try to do it. I am of course surprised. But there are even 30 liters of fuel in the tank, and apparently they drained it all. The hydraulics and all the necessary mechanisms are also working. Yes, it is dirty, but apparently we still have a little bit of work ahead of us. And when it seemed that everything was in place, the equipment was operational. It was too early to celebrate. At that time I couldn't even imagine how many problems awaited me ahead. Well, let's take everything in order. Before starting, I needed to start the bulldozer and remove this huge pile of gravel, which apparently has been here since the Jurassic period. But seriously, this is waste from the previous extraction. But at the same time, I couldn't spend much fuel, as I had about 30 liters left and there was no more money to take. Therefore, I plan to start the sand washing today. But before that, I need to solve one more problem. A huge pine fell on the technical building. I don't know why. Maybe the wind knocked it down, or perhaps it was due to old age. But in any case, I need to remove it from here. So not wasting any time, I immediately decide to move it with the bulldozer, after which we will cut it with the chainsaw. Thank God I had it. Of course, it wasn't without effort. I made quite a racket. I scared away all the bears, and to hell with them. Let them get lost from here. Next, I slowly cleaned the spruce of its branches. I ended up with 5 huge logs like this, which I stacked near the shed. Later, when we acquire special equipment, we will definitely sell them. It will bring in some good money, and after finishing with the wood, I put the tractor in place as it's time to start the sand washing. I hope that the equipment won't let me down and will start up. After all, if it doesn't work, then consider that I have gone bankrupt. In any case, we will find out right now, as I have decided to do a test run. Well, place your bets. After all, we will see some gold here, as the rumble has successfully started. Right here, the separation of sand from stones and large fractions will take place. So I immediately get into the Amcador, as it's time to start the sand washing and earn some decent money. But as it turned out, not everything was so rosy. After driving literally 10 meters, the Amcador started to jerk, black smoke began to come out of it, and overall it started to behave strangely. I need to fix it urgently or I won't see any gold. And it's actually great that I brought a toolbox with me yesterday. In the end, another hour was spent on fixing the engine and time was mercilessly pressing. After all, if I don't earn a single cent by the end of this month, consider me bankrupt. So, I quickly take the tools to the shack and immediately get to work. Now the little pit is working more or less adequately, but there are still problems with it. As I understand, the undercarriage is in very poor condition, and I won't even mention the engine. It doesn't benefit from a major overhaul, but that's something to deal with later. Right now, the main thing is to drive into this flooded quarry without getting stuck and scoop up the first bucket of rich sands. As I understand it, there used to be an ancient stream here that washed gold from the rocky deposits in the mountains. This deposit was discovered and began to be developed in the last century. But for some unknown reason, strange things started happening here, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video. Therefore, the site was abandoned, and only now has a brave soul like me decided to acquire it. But in order to earn well here, modern equipment is needed, which I do not have. Therefore, the number one goal is to start with at least some capital. Next, I will be able to acquire better equipment, and I hope that the work will go smoothly. I worked for several hours at this pace. The day was coming to an end. A lot of gold in the Rompribor, I thought. Was it really? Now we will find out. I ended up with 4 pallets of concentrate. Quite good for the first day. But that's not all. Next, it needs to be separated from the fine particles and dust. We will do this in the adjacent room. But here's the problem. The pallets are too heavy. They will most likely have to be transported using the Amcador again. And so the next day has come, and it is now the month of May. I have a balance of $99. This indicates that the situation is extremely dire and I need to pay the bills immediately. Therefore, I urgently take my retro car and start loading the gold that was processed overnight. I have 1.5 buckets of pure gold sand. I just need to melt it down and then I'll take it for sale. Also, the plan today is to rent some equipment and clear these bushes that have overgrown the entire placer. After this, we will wash the gold sands. Right now, the main question is how much we can earn from these pallets. So we won't waste time and will quickly head to the smelting. Meanwhile, I'm on my way to the spot. A huge request to like and leave a cool comment. Lately, YouTube has been really stifling my channel. Yes, the videos are cool, you like them, but they get very few views because not many of you are liking them. And if we improve and show maximum activity, then such videos will be released much more often. Let's move on. And now I am at the melting point, where they will make gold bars for us right now. However, I need to wait a little. At the same time, I took a walk in the city and asked the locals where I could rent some equipment. The gold was just ready. There were 2 pallets like this. Just look at how beautiful it is. My hard-earned first money. The only question is, how much will they pay us for it? So, without wasting any time, I load the pallet cart and quickly head to the sales point. Fortunately, it was not far away, so I get there quite quickly. And then I receive 25,500 euros, which is pretty good money for the first day of work at the placer, wouldn't you agree? Well, then I park in the city and look for an ad for renting some tractor with a mulcher to clear the damn bushes at the placer. And thank God one was found. It was an old worn-out T150 that they agreed to rent. for almost 5,000 euros a day. After a brief inspection, I determined that the T150 tractor is more or less operational and will serve me well. Next, the lady kindly agreed to drive it to the placer. I thank her separately for that, and I paid her 50 euros as a salary. Additionally, for convenience, I displayed all my expenses and income on the right. And now it's time to do some work, so I get into the T150. Engage low gear and start clearing the bushes. The only problem is that it moves very slowly, and on top of that, the equipment's grab is not very large. Well, I worked quite a lot, probably around an hour of real time. For you, of course, it's just a couple of seconds, but honestly, it didn't look very good, like some kind of garden at the placer. So, for the sake of the effect's beauty, I repaint everything in forest soil color. Now it looks really great. Take a look at what I've achieved. It looks much better than it did, doesn't it? At least better than with the bushes. Meanwhile, it was already lunchtime, and I have big plans for sand washing today. So I immediately get into the Amcodor that is parked in the garage and start working. After all, I have big plans for this month. I need to earn decent money and acquire some better equipment so that I can process much more sand. And of course I need to buy fuel because it's running out. There are only a couple of canisters left. Even now the ram door has stopped, so I'm fueling up. Now this job is going more or less smoothly. And you, right now, write in the comments whether I should engage in forestry here and sell the wood, of which there is a lot at the placer. Meanwhile, evening has quietly crept up on the mine. I worked very well off camera. This time I think the income will be better. Soon a heavy downpour started. This meant only one thing. Work needed to be stopped urgently, otherwise the equipment would get stuck. Today I worked a lot, so I ended up with this pile of pallets with concentrate, which I am transferring to the washing section with the help of a loader. Well, this is already interesting. The night promises to be sleepless. After sleeping for just a few hours, the gold was already washed. So, I have to get into the old junk and take everything for melting down. But there's a problem. There's clearly too much gold. I can't fit it all into this small truck bed. So after making arrangements in town, I decide to take the vehicle for sale. After all, I do have some money. And by the way, I found something useful. Now we're going to make a purchase. Let's go. In the end, I sold the museum exhibit for 403 euros. Right there, I made a deal with the seller to buy a new car. Let's go. I'll show you. But you understand, it will be this used Gazelle. Yes, it's a bit dirty, scratched, and has a considerable mileage, but it will be more than enough for me. So I immediately conduct a small inspection and buy it. It cost me 15,132 euros. Overall, not bad. Now, I am heading to the placer as quickly as possible to collect the gold and then take it for further refining before selling. I said that the night would be tough. In the meantime, I'm already at the placer and it's time to load the pallets with gold. I hope they all fit in this truck bed. And now early morning has arrived. During the night, while the jewels were being processed, I had to walk around the city. Let's see what we've got. With 4 huge ingots, I think we're going to make some very good money. Don't you think? Let's head to the sale and see what we earn. Well, while I'm driving, be sure to write interesting ideas for continuing this video. After all, if there is a very good response here, I will definitely release a second episode. Everything is in your hands. And here, after selling all the gold, I received 62,097 euros. That's quite a good amount of money, wouldn't you agree? Thus, I have 68,000 in my balance. I consider this a very good result for 2 months of work at the placer.